So when you're graphing either sine or cosine, you look at the amplitude, you have to look at the period, which all depends on the number that's with x. Since we have 1/2 right now with x, b is currently 1/2. In order to find the period, you need to use the period equals 2 pi divided by b. The period of this is going to be 2 pi divided by 1/2. So the period is going to equal 4 pi. 2 pi divided by 1/2 is 4 pi. Also, when you are going to graph, you need to factor out whatever b is so you can have the accurate shift, the horizontal shift in here. So if we factor out 1/2, we'd be left with an x by itself. Factor out 1/2, this would be pi over 2. Just to check it, you multiply it back. That'd be 1/2 times pi over 2 would be pi over 4. So our horizontal shift right here, or the phase shift, is it's a negative pi over 2, which means it goes to the right pi over 2. So that's our starting point. Our midline, which would come from any number being added not connected to cosine, which there is none, so our midline is still 0. Our amplitude is 3, so we have to go up 3 units and down 3 units for our amplitude. We said this is going to start at pi over 2, and it's a negative, which means rather than starting up at the top, the highest amplitude, it would be at the bottom at pi over 2. Cosine is going to start at the bottom. Negative cosine will start at the bottom. And the period is 4 pi. So if we went 4 pi units either direction, it's going to do one complete cycle. So if it's at the bottom here, 4 pi units will be at the bottom again. So 4 pi units to the left puts us over there. Halfway in between. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll be up on the opposite. And then halfway between our minimum and our maximum here, it will be at our 0, or they're at the midline. Once you have one period drawn out, it's pretty easy to continue because 1 pi, a quarter period, 1 pi, it'll be back at 0. 1 pi later, it'll be back up at the top. 1 pi later, it'll be back at the middle. And then sketch cosine the best you can. And if you had to keep going just to the end of the graph, it would look like that. But you need to identify the amplitude, the phase shift, the vertical shifts, all of that in order to graph.